Friday JT Sports back to you guys with another video. And I'm here with my Minnesota Vikings 2019 NFL record prediction, predicting week by week the Minnesota Vikings win-loss record for the 2019 NFL season. So the Minnesota Vikings, the biggest disappointment from the 2018 NFL season, stacked roster, got Kirk Cousins. Everybody felt them getting Kirk Cousins, signing him to that $84 million guaranteed contract would automatically put them in the Super Bowl. They would be one of the best teams in the NFL, and that was far from the case. Kirk Cousins proved to be what we thought he all was, the average quarterback who can't win a big game. And if you needed any indication of that, just go back to that New England Patriots game. But I mean, we're not going to place the blame on him. That offensive line was a lot worse than what many people expected it to be, and that's a big reason why they didn't make it to the playoffs as well. So the Minnesota Vikings are hoping to rebound from what was a disastrous and overhyped 2018 NFL season. And what better way to kick off the season by playing the Atlanta Falcons? This is going to be a very interesting matchup, as we already know. A bunch of expectations that will fail for different reasons. The Minnesota Vikings just failed expectations just because their offensive line wasn't as good, and maybe the Minnesota Vikings weren't as good as a team as we all thought. And the Atlanta Falcons didn't live up to expectations because they hit the injury bug. But these are two of the best teams in the NFC. These teams hopefully should be in the playoffs, guaranteed. It's probably pretty much a 75% chance that both of these teams make it to the playoffs. Can't really see neither of these teams missing the playoffs. So this is a very interesting matchup. Minnesota has the advantage because they're at home, but I'm going to say that they take a loss here and they go on one. I just think Atlanta is the better team. They have an improved offensive line, unlike Minnesota's who offensive line I'm not really that sold on. Atlanta has a very improved offensive line on top of them getting Keon O'Neal and Deion Jones are going to be fully healthy again. So the Atlanta Falcons, I have them taking this game. Week 2, the Minnesota Vikings travel to Lambeau Field and face the Green Bay Packers. I have them losing this game as well. I think Green Bay comes up with the upper hand this time, and I just think Green Bay wins the first game out of this matchup. Week 3, they're playing the Oakland Raiders. Now, the Oakland Raiders, they're a very improved team. When we look at all the players who they have, Vontaze Burfict, Antonio Brown, and Richie Incognito, playing to catching, the Oakland Raiders might be a similar version of a watered down version or a Dollar General version or a great value brand version of the Dallas Cowboys with all of these bad guys who they have on their roster. But despite all that, the Minnesota Vikings are going to win this game. They are a better team. They are a more complete team. And if the Minnesota Vikings lose this game, I want to say it's all because of Kirk Cousins, because there's no way Minnesota should lose to Oakland. They're better than the Oakland Raiders in every aspect of the roster: cornerback, secondary, offensive line, defensive line, wide receiver core, just better than Oakland. So there's no reason why they should lose this game. So they're 1-2 to start the season. Week 4, they travel to Chicago to face the Chicago Bears. This is going to be a very physical game right here. Two good defenses. The question is, which quarterback is going to be able to show up? Kirk Cousins or Mitchell Trubisky? I think both quarterbacks do fairly well in this game, but I think that the Chicago Bears beat the Minnesota Vikings the first go around. So Minnesota, it's tough, Minnesota Vikings fans. You guys start out 1-4, but stay tuned, man. Don't dislike the video. Just actually leave a like on this video, and also make sure to subscribe to the channel. Upload NFL videos and college football videos daily. So week 5. They're at New York. This is going to be an easy game right here. Minnesota shouldn't have no problem beating the New York Jets. They should beat them pretty easily. Um, the New York Giants just don't have the roster to beat the Minnesota Vikings, at least on paper. And Minnesota should handle this. And plus, their offensive line should be able to get the better of the New York Giants defensive line. So Minnesota should win this game fairly easily by at least 2 scores or more. Week 6, they play the Philadelphia Eagles. And this is an interesting matchup. The Philadelphia Eagles have a very good defensive line, so that's going to cause some matchup problems for the Minnesota Vikings in terms of their offensive line. But I think Minnesota is going to end up winning this game. They're playing at home, and their roster should be able to, handle the Philadelphia Eagles. It's going to be a close game, but I just think they have the better team to beat the Philadelphia Eagles. So I have them winning this game. So that's two straight wins in a row. Then week 7, they travel to Detroit to face improved Detroit Lions team, who a lot of people are sleeping on. Don't be surprised if Minnesota loses this game. They could very well lose this game, and it has all the reasons why. Because the Detroit Lions are a very improved team. Justin Coleman, Trey Flowers, so they could lose this game. And I actually do have the Minnesota Vikings losing this game. Week 8, Thursday night football, they play the Washington Redskins back at home after suffering a disappointing loss to the Detroit Lions. Facing a rookie quarterback and Dwayne Haskins, Minnesota is going to win this game. I just don't see Dwayne Haskins having a lot of success against the Minnesota Vikings, considering the fact that his wide receiving core is less to be desired, and their best wide receiver is basically Josh Doxson, who is basically up to this point has been a bust. So the Washington Redskins are going to lose this game. Minnesota wins this game, and they're now have won 3 out of their last 4 games. Week 9, they travel on the road again to face the Kansas City Chiefs. This is a tough stretch. They have to face the Kansas City Chiefs, the Dallas Cowboys, the Denver Broncos, and Seattle. So that is a very tough stretch. And they have a bye week 12, which favors them. So week 9, Kansas City. I think Minnesota is going to be able to win this game. It's going to be very high scoring, but I think Minnesota wins this game because they get the ball last, and we already know Kansas City Chiefs defense. They always fold when you put Kansas City Chiefs defense on the field, and you be like, "Hey, give me a stop and close out this game." I think that's how this game is going to go, and Minnesota is going to win this game. Week 10, they play the Dallas Cowboys. This is a very interesting matchup to watch. If the Minnesota Vikings are as good as they're advertised to be on paper, we're going to see two of the best teams in the NFC, talent-wise, going head-to-head. This is going to be at Jerry's World, and it's very hard to win at Dallas. And this game could go either way, in my opinion, but I'm going to say that the Minnesota Vikings take the loss here. I think the Dallas Cowboys are going to win up front, and they're basically going to have a lot of success against the Minnesota Vikings offensive line. So I have no losing this game here. This is like the second loss that they have had over this stretch. Then they face the Denver Broncos at home again after that tough 2-game road stretch. And I have them beating the Denver Broncos. The Denver Broncos are a sleeper team to watch out for, but in this matchup, I don't think they beat the Minnesota Vikings. This game is going to be close because the Denver Broncos off the line is pretty solid. You do have Joe Flacco back there who isn't going to lose you games, but I don't think Joe Flacco is good enough to win you any games neither. So they're going to stick around in this game, but Minnesota is going to win this game. Then they get a very big bye week in week 12. And I think having a bye week later on in the season benefits a team more than having a bye week early on in the season because now at this point, some of those players might be a little bit banged up or whatever. So it gives them a good chance to rest up, get a little bit more healthy, maybe get to 100% before going to face a very tough Seattle team on Monday Night Football at Seattle. So that's going to be a very tough game. Seattle is already a pretty tough team to beat with Russell Wilson. Plus, you got to face them on Monday night. Then you're facing them at Seattle. That's a very tough game. Minnesota, I have them winning this game against Seattle. I think they are the better team than Seattle. And Seattle's going to be pretty tough to beat at this point because DK Metcalf is now really going to be having his wheels up under him. He's going to be having those training wheels off, and he's going to be going full ham. He's going to be causing havoc on NFL secondaries. But Minnesota should be able to win this game. Week 14, they play the Detroit Lions. I have them winning that game as well. I can't see them losing to the Detroit Lions a second time. The Detroit Lions, they are improved, but I just think I just don't think the Detroit Lions are quite there yet in terms of how talented they are to be good enough to close out a team and sweep them. So the Minnesota Vikings take the second matchup this go around against the Detroit Lions. Week 15, a tough 3-game stretch to close out the season. And basically, they need to win all 3 of those games if they want to make it to the playoffs. Starting with the LA Chargers, basically, you can say that the Minnesota Vikings playoffs starts here. because they're going to be facing some pretty tough teams. They face the LA Chargers on the road. And Philip Rivers, he's a feisty guy. He's not going to go down without a fight in this game. And the LA Chargers, to me, if you were a betting guy and you was to look at this game on paper right now without the season starting, you would pretty much say that the LA Chargers 75% will win this game. And I say the LA Chargers can win this game as well. But I'm going to go with the Minnesota Vikings. I think Kirk Cousins actually shows up in this game. I have a feeling this is going to be a primetime game. Kirk Cousins will actually show up in this game, and he will help lead the Minnesota Vikings to a win over the LA Chargers. Week 16, they played the Green Bay Packers, having them win in that game. Had the Green Bay Packers beating them early on in the season. Week 2, no way that the Green Bay Packers beat a talented Minnesota Vikings team twice, especially considering that this game is at home. So having them win in this game. And to close out the season, they faced the Chicago Bears. I have them winning that matchup as well, because I think the Minnesota Vikings, when you just look at this team on paper, it's just you just can't see them losing to any team in the division twice. It's just very hard. They have a lot of talented guys: Harrison Smith, Xavier Rhodes. Even if they do get some of those guys traded, they're still a very talented team, and I can't see them losing to the Chicago Bears twice. So the record I have for the Minnesota Vikings is 11-5. They could potentially have the potential to be a 13-3 team, 12-4, but 11-5 seems about suitable, because the big question is, can Kirk Cousins win some of these primetime matchups against Chicago Bears in the Atlanta Falcons game, which is week 1, which is really going to have him on the spotlight then. So let me know what you guys think about this prediction down in the comment section down below. Make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more NFL videos and content, and thanks for watching.